am Gary Parrish. Welcome back. CBS Sports Eye on College Basketball podcast, where we sometimes discuss camel fighting, dodo birds, leaky black. Matt Norlander is here with me. If you're watching on YouTube, be Brandon Davies. Smash that like button. And if you're one of us, let the world know in the comments and in the chat. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the CBS Sports College Basketball YouTube channel. Please also do that while you're here. Let's get into it. And we will get to some of the weekend's top results in a bit. We'll start that conversation with Purdue, Texas Tech. But I want to start this conversation about some of the multi-team events getting underway and how the evolution of college athletics has changed Thanksgiving week for college basketball pretty dramatically. And we can begin that conversation by pointing out that Norlander is in Las Vegas right now, where the Maui Invitational murder weapon can be found. Norlander, you have a piece up on CBSSports.com about the launch and evolution of the Players Era Festival. It's a 23-minute read. Let's try to be a little quicker over here. For folks who don't have all afternoon to read about a college basketball tournament in November, can you explain the Players Era Festival, how it works, and why the Maui Invitational's blood is on its hands?
Your words, not mine. You will not find the phrase. I don't think you'll find the word blood in the story, period. I remain.
Hey, I have access to it. I could get in there and put that in right now.
Yeah, that sounds extremely ethical. By the way, I have major issues with our algorithm continuing to overinflate the time it takes to read. I promise you, you read the story top to bottom, you're in and out in 15 minutes. That thing ain't taking you 23. But it is a big story, a big picture story. I'm here. Players Era is going to get started Monday with 18 teams. Half the field is ranked. But yes, this in year two is something of an inflection point for, I think, where college basketball is when it comes strictly to the November portion of its schedule. And the existence of Players Era, which still remains a very hot button topic in our sport, is going to really determine which way we go over the next 3, 4, 5 years. So there's a ton to get to here, but the bottom line is the emergence of this event, which, just as a quick refresher, because I think part of this discussion also ties to people, is it a tournament? Is it not a tournament? Is that the one where they get paid money? Where do they play it? Like the Players Era, if you're a diehard college basketball fan, you have a general understanding what it is. But I still maintain that this has not yet penetrated into the general sports consciousness. Now, by virtue of having a variety of ranked-on-ranked matchups this week, that's going to change. And then a year from now, as my story details, when they want to go from 18 this year to 32 next year, and that would involve FIFA-style pool play that feeds into a bracket championship, then you are talking about the kind of event that will downright overwhelm every other event in the month of November. And the question is this feasible? Question number two is this legitimate? Is it viable for long term? I addressed these questions. I spoke with the co-founders, to quote it on the record, extensively for the first time in the story that you can read on the CBS Sports app or at CBSSports.com. But I do want to send it back to you in relatively quick fashion. Then however you want to team me up, or we can just kind of hash it out here over the course of 10, 15 minutes or so. I think the Players Era coming into effect is a generally a good thing for college basketball, Parrish, because it is giving us another event with Hall of Fame coaches, future NBA lottery picks, although one of them now is now not going to play. Darren Peterson for Kansas. Bill Self has announced that after his latest checkup, he's not going to be on the floor. We'll get to more of that near the end of the show. But you've got some big-time brands that are involved and even bigger ones that are going to be joining next year. We'll get to that in just a few. As an 8-team, 16-team event, I think it's very good and very viable. I have some questions about if 32 is, frankly, too big. You can call me, a bit old-fashioned when it comes to this stuff, guilty as charged. I very much don't like the idea that Maui, Battle for Atlantis, which right now, as of a couple of weeks ago, I was told Battle for Atlantis doesn't have a single team committed for next year's field. You have these other MTEs, which are at real risk of either dissolution or massive downgrades if they don't change their format, they don't change their overall structure and whether they're paying out teams and players or not. But big picture, Parrish, where do you land on Players Era in year two?
I cannot tell if I'm frozen or if Norlander's frozen, but he is definitely frozen
now,
on my end.
And every indication is they will go to Okay, I'm back. I got you. 40% of the high major teams next year will be in this event. Good thing, bad thing. Where do you land on this for college basketball?
Okay. I don't know half of what you said there because it was getting real choppy. But I don't mind a new event coming along where there's universities can make money that is redirected to student athletes. I think you got to be a weirdo to have an issue with that, because what you're arguing, if you argue against that, is what you want instead is events where a lot of people make money, but not the student athletes. So I like I like the core of this. I don't like the field as it is. I mean, there's a lot of good teams, but I like to look at a bracket. They call me old fashioned, but I like to look at a bracket and I go, hey, if this team wins on Monday and then they win again on Tuesday, and this team over here wins on Monday and Tuesday, they're going to play each other on Wednesday. And that's amazing. I can't wait for that. That's not that. Yeah, we don't get that with this. And so I don't like that. Like I can't map out the championship game right now because of the unusual number of teams in it. So I don't like that aspect of it. I do like getting a bunch of good games and compelling games. So I'm in favor of that. I don't like what it has done to specifically the Maui Invitational. That has been a staple of Thanksgiving week forever. Like it's just something like it's Thanksgiving. You go to Grandma Jewel's house, you get to Grandma Sarah's house. But you know, in the days leading up to that, you're going to have watched the Maui Invitational for 3 days. Like I have real memories of that event. I got to go to it. I believe in 2018. I know you've gone. I think it was last season. There's something special about that. The little gym, the beaches and the mountains. That's a real memory. And for a lot of young people, that is the first time they've ever flown outside of the continental United States when they go. For some people, it's the first time they've ever been to a beach. And I don't like having that diminished to the degree that it is diminished. But like our buddy Seth Davis pointed out on X earlier today, you know, this is the, you know, there's evolution in all business models. And it's just like, you know, Blockbuster worked just fine until Netflix came along. And then you got to figure out, you don't just complain about Netflix, you got to figure out how to survive or not. And Maui is now in a situation where if they ever want to have the type of fields they used to have, they're going to have to figure out how to change with the times. And what does that mean? It means finding investors, sponsors, however, to create the same types of carrots that the Players Era Festival is putting out there for universities, because, you know, we can keep this pretty simple. If it costs you money to go somewhere as opposed to get paid to go somewhere, well, in almost any walk of life, you're going to do the thing that you get paid to do as opposed to the thing you got to pay to get to do. Just to put a spotlight on the Maui film, I just went and looked at the one that existed when I went, because I remember it being awesome. And what we had was the championship game was number 1 Duke against number 3 Gonzaga. All right. Auburn was also there. They were number 8 at the time. All 3 of those teams ended up in the Elite 8. Auburn made the Final 4. We had Zion Williamson, RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish, Tyrese Halliburton, Rui Hachimura, Brandon Clark. I mean, it was awesome. And the best you're going to be able to do in this year's Maui field is a number 25 NC State versus unranked Texas. That's the best you can do, probably, with all due respect to everybody else. So I wish there was a way to make that event great again. Not to borrow that phrase, but they're going to have to change their business model, or else it won't.
Make Maui great again. Just rolls right off the lips, doesn't it?
Make Maui great again. I mean, obviously, you could say that in a variety of ways. You know, Maui's been through it a little bit.
It has, absolutely. And I was there a year ago. It was the best field ever statistically in terms of the number of teams that were ranked, involved in all of that. And then, you know, when Auburn won, Janai Broome came out of that as the leader at that point for National Player of the Year, and that really set the stage for the next 2.5 months with Broome versus Flag and all that. And I went a year ago because I knew how great the field was, and I worried about what the future of Maui will be. Now, a year from now, the Maui field is actually a little bit better, but the question becomes what happens after that. And Oh, Parrish, there's just a lot we can dive into here. Okay, specifically as it pertains to Maui, and frankly also the battle for Atlantis, which, entered onto the scene about a decade and a half ago and was a disruptor then in a different way, but a disruptor nonetheless to a similar extent that Players Era is now. And it was like, wait a second. Okay, so we're going to go to the Atlantic Ocean now, and you're going to have teams go play in a hotel ballroom. And there was a lot of dismissive attitudes about a lot of that stuff, but we saw what Battle for Atlantis grew into. It was a nice counterbalance, both geographically, but also in terms of, TV programming and just getting more really good teams together. And now Players Era it's hurting Maui. It may kill the Battle for Atlantis. I mean, the field this year is objectively the weakest it's ever been. And if it exists next year and the year after, who knows what that field is going to be comprised of. If the organizers, and it's actually the same event operator that now runs Maui and Battle for Atlantis, they are going to need to determine how they can have a business model that is going to pay teams to play in those events, because travel in Maui is way further than the Battle for Atlantis, but the plane travel is a big thing. I can just tell you, I've spoken to a number of people at top 20 level programs, both recently as in the past couple of weeks, and dating all the way back to a year ago when I went to Maui. And their viewpoint is, when we're there, we love it. It's an amazing gym. I love that I've had the opportunity to come here a couple of times to get my players to have this experience, but the travel is real. And by the travel, it's when you play and you come back, you feel it for a week, if not 2 weeks. Okay. But call it just a week if you want to say the coaches are overstating that. We lose money on the event. It costs. And the benefit of playing in Maui in 1997, in 2001, in 2010, even as recently as GP is when you went in 2018. Okay. That is not the benefit anymore. It used to be a massive recruiting pitch for a lot of players. Now it's just not the same anymore. And Maui is going to have to adapt. I would argue that the Players Era Championship is merely accelerating a reality that was going to arrive anyway, because the Maui Invitational as it stands right now cannot, and you're listening to someone who wants to see Maui in perpetuity be a tournament that always matters, that is always able to field 2 or 3 teams minimum, that when they play in it, you say that could be a Final Four team 3 or 4 months from now. So while a lot of the anger and frustration is directed toward the Players Era, I get that. It's not just that. In fact, I'm going to quote a coach at a top 10 program who spoke to me on Background about this. He said, quote, "Maui's going to die just because everyone needs money and we're doing anything we can get it to pay players. We're playing exhibition games to make money. The single sole driving factor in all of this is, how can I get extra money?" End quote. And to that, the coach was also speaking to these exhibition games now, the high profile ones we talked about on the pod about a month ago. Teams were getting paid $300, $400, sometimes $500. I believe Carolina, BYU, that exhibition game, I believe both of those teams got paid $500,000 to play a game that does not count in the regular season standings, period. So it's not just your Players Era, but I want to dive into a little bit more on that, GP. It is where we are at when players, rightfully so, have moved into a spot here where they can command some money. This is way overdue. And figuring out how the overall economics of this is going to work is going to take time. It's going to be a little bit messy. There's no doubt about it. But I do really hope that Maui can find a way to sustain itself. And I think it probably will. I just have questions about, are we going to look up in 5 years? It's still going to be something worth watching, because it's not an accident. It's not a coincidence that a year ago, most people wouldn't remember this, but Players Era played couple of days before Thanksgiving, took a break, and then came back after Thanksgiving. That calendar doesn't really work. So now this year, what's going on? It is head-to-head, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of Thanksgiving week, just like Maui, because that is the most prime real estate. We have good stuff on Thursday. We have good stuff on Friday. Don't get me wrong. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday are the biggest days for basketball between the hours of 12 East Coast time up until 9, 10 o'clock overall. Thanksgiving, there's going to be a huge game on CBS, Duke, Arkansas. It's going to be awesome. UConn, Illinois will play the day after Thanksgiving. That's going to be good. Tons of people will watch those games. Duke, Arkansas will be the most watched regular season game of the entire regular season because of it being on CBS and being Duke and being on Thanksgiving coming out of football. But that's a standalone kind of thing. When we're talking about the programs, the events that matter, that get the most attention, it is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of Thanksgiving week. And now the question becomes, what does Maui do to adapt? You and I both know, we both grew up watching another really cool, faraway tournament that got big time programs, top 5 programs, top 10 programs. And in 2017, it died. The Great Alaska Shootout. For about 20 years, the Great Alaska Shootout mattered just as much as the Maui Invitational, but it became too expensive to go to. And it went through a time, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, where the fields just got a little bit worse every year. They just degraded just a little bit every time, GP. And eventually it wasn't worth having. I really, really, really hope we are not in the beginning of the end stage with Maui, where we look up a decade from now and it's barely hanging on before fading away entirely. I want to believe that it won't, but I think that reality, although it might be a small percentage chance, is nonetheless on the table because of the modern era with NIL and player empowerment that we're in.
Yeah, I'll try to be quick on this, and then I want to get back to the players era, and I just want to pepper you with some basic questions. I'll ask them from a place of ignorance or a pretend place of ignorance, so that listeners actually know what it is they'll be watching this week.
Yep.
On Maui, the travel is real. I mean, I live in the Central Time Zone, so I went Memphis to LA. That's like 5 hours nearly, and then I went LA to Honolulu, and then Honolulu to Maui, and I mean, buddy. I mean,
dude,
you feel that.
Why the change?
You feel that.
Yeah, I got LA to Maui direct. So, I mean, it's been 7 years, but that's wow. Okay.
Yeah, I did not have LA to Maui direct. So it was Memphis to LA, LA to Honolulu, and then Honolulu to Maui. And you feel it. And then, I mean, I probably should have gone earlier. Teams, I think, go earlier. But I then wake up on Sunday and, it's like, man, I'm just awake. It's just 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm awake. And I remember thinking, I guess I'll just get up as soon as the sunrise and go for a nice walk. It'll be quiet. And what you find out is everybody's outside at 5:30 in the morning because everybody's awake because they're coming from the continental United States. So the travel's a real thing. And the toll it takes on you is a real thing. But I like you hope that we can figure out a way to keep it notable, because when I walked in that gym, like, I'm not exaggerating when I say this has been a part of my whole life. It started in 1984. That lines up with when I became a college basketball fan. This has been my whole life. And when I walked in that little gym, it reminded me of the first time I ever walked into Wrigley Field, the first time I ever walked into Fenway Park. It's like, man, I've seen this on TV my whole life, and now I'm here. Look at this.
Yep.
Look at this. And I hope that doesn't go away. And I think this is important. A coach told you it used to be a big recruiting tool, but it doesn't matter as much anymore because everybody's just chasing money as opposed to nice trips. But it is a nice trip. It's an awesome trip for people. It's just awesome.
It's gorgeous. Yes. I will go. I had never been. And when I was there, I called my wife. I said, I will bring you and the kids to Maui one day, that we will come back as a family and visit this place. Yes.
It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Yes. Ignorant, I grew up going to the beaches down in Florida and stuff, and people would be like, yeah, I'm going to Hawaii. And I would always be like, go to Hawaii. Why are you going all the way over there? It's sand and water, but it's not. It's just different. And you can see it. You can feel it. It's great. And that's a real trip for young people to take that lasts a lifetime memory. And it is something that some of those young people have never had the opportunity to do, and perhaps would have never otherwise had an opportunity to do it. And I hope we don't lose that. With the battle for Atlantis, I'm less nostalgic about it, obviously. But I will say I have taken my family to Atlantis the past 2 summers strictly because when I watch that tournament, it just looks awesome. And I'm like, let's go there. Yeah. And so it's a big advertising tool for them. I mean, I wonder how many people have gone there simply because they heard about it or saw it, was exposed to it during basketball. So if they can't get a basketball tournament of any substance, they need to do something. I don't need to tell their marketing people how to handle it. They'll figure it out. They don't need me. But I mean, that basketball tournament exposed me to that resort, and my family has been there 2 years in a row that had nothing to do with basketball. So yeah, all of this is moving pieces, and we'll see where it goes from here. But I love the Maui Invitational, and I hope it can maintain its place in the sport. I hope this season is the worst of it, the worst we've ever seen, and the worst we will see for a while. Back to the players era. All right, I'm going to pepper you with questions. You're the one that had the 23-minute read. 18 teams are in this.
Yes. 15-minute read. Let's be real. 18 on the men's side, 4 on the women's side. Yes.
Okay. 18 teams. How much does each team get?
That is to be determined. A year ago, everyone got $1 million, and then the top 4 teams. And these are all very good questions, by the way. Let's just go players era for dummies. Yeah, without a doubt. Many teams involved, because I asked the founders, will be receiving $1 million. It is not clear at this moment whether every single team will receive $1 million. And an important distinction here, because there's a lot. I say there's a lot of detractors. Basically, every other MTE operator in the space looks at the players era and says, there's no way they can pull off, say they're pulling off. This will eventually fall apart at some point. That in mind, teams are now more on the hook for ticket sales, the same way they get to be in college football with the bowls. But generally speaking, the majority of teams are expected to bring in, if not $1 million, close to $1 million this year. When we go to 32 next year, that number will collectively come down for a number of teams.
So one of the things we always hear is, man, this is a way for the players to get some extra money in their pocket. Let's talk specifically players. Elmarko Jackson's going to be there. He's going to play 3 games this week for Kansas. How much money he's going to make this week?
Good question. I couldn't tell you exactly with Elmarko Jackson, but I did ask the co-founders.
Or anybody, you get the point.
How this actually works. Everything that they do for NIL, some of it's as simple as they're doing stuff on a phone, and it's being done through that. It will be and has been reviewed by NIL Go through Deloitte. It's also dependent on the team. So it's a very good question, Parrish, because I talked to a couple of coaches on background about this back over the summer, and coaches have very different. One coach might say that the entire team is going to get pretty close to even. Another coach and program might say, actually, that's not how we're breaking this down. Here's how it's going to break down after the fact. But I think if you are a player that matters, a player, let's talk about like the 20 or 25 players that will probably wind up mattering most in this. They will be earning for sure 5-figure NIL compensation to play in this event.
It is interesting how different programs break this stuff down differently. Yeah. I know one program, I'm sure you do too, that actually has an algorithm that they use. They've created an algorithm. So think of something like player efficiency rating. It's not that, but it's something they create. And it's like, okay, you're number 1 in our algorithm. You get this percentage of our budget. You're number 2 in our algorithm. You get this percentage of our budget. And, they'll allow themselves some wiggle room, and you got to negotiate sometimes, but they basically have a board in place that says, if you are this, this is what you get. If you are this, and you guys get to decide what you are. It's up to y'all. And so, and then there's others that they'll make it even. And then others that, they pay the people. It's just like, you're signing free agents and you pay whatever you got to pay. All right. How do the organizers explain to you that this is financially feasible? Because so many people are skeptical of that. And I want to be clear, just because people are skeptical of it doesn't mean anything to me. Like, the people who are skeptical of it probably aren't on the inside in the room looking at the, spreadsheets and stuff. But I'm interested, when you talk to these people, how do they explain to you, yes, we can afford to pay all this money to all these schools and still make money ourselves?
Correct. So a year ago, the tournament did not make money. This year, Ian Orphis, who previously was a chief executive at Time Inc., is now the CEO of a production company called Everwonder. This is the company that has helped Netflix do the NFL Christmas Day games. It did the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson flight on Netflix. It's done some documentaries, all this stuff. They helped make sure that the tournament could essentially be solvent and still operate at a loss a year ago. He said this year they will operate not only in the black, but ticket sales and sponsorship revenues will cover the cost of the tournament. This is a quote from Orphis. Quote, "My previous role running Time is why we run this differently than most other event organizers. When we look to the future, the main difference between Players Era and any other early season tournaments in the past, they were running a single basketball tournament. Players Era is a brand. It has different product lines. We have another basketball showcase we're excited to announce shortly. We're exploring college football opportunities. Players Era is a media company. It is not a basketball tournament." He said the sponsorship with Geico is significant. Do I have a number for you? I do not. I frankly hope to get that number on the record at some point over the next 3 days. We'll see if they disclose that. Publicis Group is another media company that has put in a ton of money. MGM Resorts International has also provided a lot of money. It's their properties here. The event will take place at 2 different arenas. Michelob Ultra Arena, which I was over there today, really nice arena. That's where the Las Vegas Aces play, and then Grand Garden Arena, which has been around forever. Big boxing fights have happened there. Those are the 2 arenas where the games are going to happen. That, in addition to north of at least $6 million, and apparently I don't have this officially on the record, but apparently ticket sales might be able to climb to 8 or 9 million after not making a dent whatsoever a year ago. That is additionally how they are helping fund and get a tournament in the black. On the men's side, the founders did say that the women's side will operate at a deficit this year.
Yeah. MGM. Sounds like somebody's trying to get into Hakkasan. You trying to get a Hakkasan night?
I told Josh before we went live that there was a chance we might drift into some previous stories here. I will not be going to Hakkasan.
Oh, buddy, you froze again.
Your boy over there, if you're watching this on the left side of the screen, it's Hakkasan. I'm back. Am I back? Am I back?
Know, man.
I'm
here. Back now. You're back now.
Hakkasan. Okay, Hakkasan. Listen. It's the hotel Wi-Fi. Okay, you've lived the life. I'm living it right now. GP has some Hakkasan stories from back in the day, but we got a lot to get to, and we can't get sidetracked. But no, I will not.
Trust me, I don't think it's in anybody's best interest for any Hakkasan stories to get out there. All right, I think everybody swore that maybe that night we didn't swear because nobody could really think straight by the end of it. But I think the next day it was like, all right, I don't think we need to talk about that ever again.
Keep it rolling. I will not be going to Hakkasan.
Okay. Last thing on Players Era. You just talked about ticket sales, but I don't know what those numbers mean. Here's what I'm asking you. So often in these neutral court tournaments, we turn them on and it's like, oh, cool. That team and that team is playing in Brooklyn. Nobody's there.
Right.
What's this going to look like when I turn on my television? What is this? Is it going to look like? Man, there's big time basketball, and all the seats are filled, because that is one of the things that makes Maui awesome. Is that you turn it on and there's not an empty spot in the place. What's this going to look like?
That's the question, because they are selling out sessions. Not selling out, they are selling sessions. So, for example, I'll be at Baylor Creighton to start on Monday. But then the next game after that is St. John's and Iowa State. So it stands to reason that one of those fan bases facing the camera will probably be either St. John's or Iowa State. So you could still get that during the first game. But apparently there's going to be a pretty decent contingent that shows up. But as this kind of goes along, I'll keep you updated on all.
Oh, buddy, it's going to be a struggle, it looks like. Looks like somebody needs a hot spot.
All that. The co-founders of the event and some coaches. I do need a hot spot. Okay, I need a hot spot, don't I? You want me to switch over to the hot spot, that GP? Because I'll do it. I'll do it right here, right now.
It can't be worse.
I can't hotspot it. No, it can. Look at this. You ready for this? That's one bar. We're gonna power through this. Okay. End the segment. I know you want to end the segment. Yes. I'm trying to think of this. Hold on. Before we get out of here for the next segment, don't freeze on me, please, StreamYard. On Monday, the Big 12 will announce a 4 or 5 year deal with Players Era, so that the top 8 schools, the Big 12, will autofill into the 32 team Players Era tournament starting in 6. This is an unprecedented arrangement. Even with that, there's going to be some inconsistencies. For example, Arizona is scheduled to play in Maui next year. Arizona is going to finish in the top 8 of the Big 12 this season. I don't think you'll see Arizona and Players Era next year. We'll see what happens beyond that. But it is a significant partnership for the viability and long-term sustainability of Players Era. So just keep that in mind. I'm just ping-ponging around on a few different things. Since this is not a bracket for this year, and it will be next year, the teams that will have a chance to finish in the championship game in top 4, you have to go 2-0, and then it's the margin of victory. And if the margin of victory is the same, then it's whichever team averages more points per game. And then
I don't want any of this.
I know you don't. I'm just telling you what it is. And then if that is still the same, which it won't, it is whatever team allowed the fewest points per game. But there is an inherent, even though Kansas doesn't have Darren Peterson, Kansas has to play Syracuse and Notre Dame, not projected tournament teams. Meanwhile, Gonzaga and Alabama have to play each other. So the slope and the team that you have to play against is not exactly even. So that is obviously ripe for some deserved criticism overall. But if you're wondering how this in general works and why we don't know the Wednesday matchups, that's exactly why. It will be entirely dependent on who wins, who loses, and what their, margin of victories. Oh, but also it caps. So the margin of victory caps at 20. So you can't run up the score by 47. Once you win by 20, that's as much as you can go.
I'm still winning by 47. whether you give
you
me credit
can,
for it or not.
but I'm just telling you, for margin of victory, it caps at 20. There's plenty more. Go read the 15-minute read at CBS Sports.
It will not impact my approach at all. You can cap me at 20. I'm still trying to beat you by 47. I hate that aspect of this. I would, if I would have been in the room, I would have said, hey, guys, instead of doing 18 men's teams, let's cut it to 16 and have two 8-team tournaments and play it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and have two 8-team brackets. I would have suggested that. I like to look at a bracket. I like to play in my Wednesday. I have no idea what I'm going to be watching on Wednesday. I don't even know what the possibilities are. And I don't like that, but whatever. Last thing I'll say, for everybody who's wondering or worried about whether it is financially feasible, this event, like I wouldn't care. Like if I'm Kelvin Sampson or Bill Self or whomever, I'm just like, is my check going to clear this year? Then we'll be there. And then you guys can figure out whether you can do it again next year or not. But as long as my checks keep clearing, this is what we're going to do. And I'm not really worried about it. Like I don't care if they make money as long as my check gets delivered. So it just seems like there's a lot of oxygen used on that part of this conversation. And I just don't know why anybody really cares other than the people who need to make money. Like I don't need to make money off of it. And Kelvin Sampson doesn't need to make money off of it. Kelvin Sampson just needs to make sure they get the check that they promised him to give. And if you keep doing that every year, we'll keep coming back every year. And the first time you can't, well, then we'll stop. But thinking about it any more than that seems like wasted energy to me.
I agree. I've got
every time he freezes now, I'm just going to freeze just like him.
Did you just
and then we won't be able to tell what's going on. I've decided that every time you freeze, I'm just going to freeze too. So when I see you freeze, I just go like this.
Okay, fair enough. This is an amazing, by the way, this is an amazing listen for people not watching the show. Like, what are these idiots talking about? What I was going to say was, if there's anything
look, I look frozen, but I'm not frozen.
I know, I got it.
Look how frozen I look.
I got it, buddy. I got it. If anything notable develops Monday or Tuesday,
I'm not frozen.
I'll try and do a quick hit pod. Let's talk about the results that frankly feel like 5 days ago, but they're interesting nonetheless. From Friday night, where Gary Parrish, I'm going to say it before he can. He went 5-0 in the final 4-1. Good on you, buddy.
5-0, and I even questioned myself.
Yes,
privately.
You know what happened? You tried to sort the data too early. You were moving too quickly. You got yourself in trouble.
Too quick. There were some interesting results this weekend. The ones I picked them all exactly right. Surprise, surprise. We'll look back at some of them next, starting with Purdue winning the Baha Mar championship by 30 points over Texas Tech. My God. First, though, let's get a word from our partners.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
Final score, Purdue 86, Texas Tech 56. Purdue led by 23 at the half, by as many as 33 in the second half, won the game by 30. Somebody was telling the whole world a few nights ago that Arizona had to move to number one, and I was like, "Well, if Norlander says so, I guess I'll move. I'll move Arizona to number one."
Stop.
I was trying to be a good teammate. I was trying to be a good teammate.
No, own it.
I was trying to be a good teammate with you. I woke up and I was still trying to figure out, what do I do? I love Purdue. I'm like 47% Boilermaker. They haven't lost. They're undefeated. They're number one. I'm a good percentage Boilermaker. I don't know, but Arizona does have the best body of work. That's undeniable. What do I do? And then I get in Slack and it's like, here's a Norlander column saying, if you don't make Arizona number one, you're a GD idiot. And I was like, ugh, I don't want to deal with that. And so I was like, I guess I'll align with my teammate and be a good teammate. And next thing I know, Purdue's out there beating Texas Tech by 30. Look what you done got me into.
You did it to yourself. Okay. Do I need to read from your top 25-1 opening? Do I need to read your words that you wrote? I didn't make you write these words. You wrote them. I'll deny them if I don't like them. Yeah. You're just dripping with moral turpitude here today. Purdue.
There ain't nothing you're about to read to me that I won't blame on Jack Crosby.
Okay. Oh my gosh. All right. Purdue fans, every right to crow. Now, Arizona still has, and we're We're not even to Thanksgiving, plenty of time. Arizona has the best resume in college basketball. Purdue was 24 hours removed from almost losing to Memphis. And then it absolutely pasted Texas Tech 86-56. Oscar Clough showed up, had an awesome night. Honestly, this was one of those kind of games where Purdue, good on you, but I was bummed as hell. I was like, man, this is a top 15 matchup, and it's just a runaway here. We're not even getting a competitive game. Tremendous balance across the board from the Boilermakers. Texas Tech was not ready whatsoever. This was a butt whooping of the highest order, and Texas Tech will not lose a game like this again the rest of the season. I don't know if Texas Tech will wind up as a top 10, top 15, top 20 or unranked team by the time we get to say Selection Sunday, but I'm inclined to believe that they will get their act together and be a team with a quality number next to its name when the bracket is revealed. And if and when that happens, this kind of victory on a neutral floor will only reinforce what I'm guessing will be Purdue's very convincing case as a 1 seed. JT Toppin had 15 points, 8 boards. Chris Anderson, 13 points, 3 turnovers, just 1 assist, 1 steal. They didn't get any help whatsoever. Now, some of this was Purdue was just flame throwing. I mean, just really tremendous balance across the board. When I watched Purdue play, I actually started to just kind of chuckle internally because of the Arizona stuff. And I was like, damn, I'd love nothing more right now than to see Arizona and Purdue just play a game. These teams are operating so well. And Purdue to win the way that it did, mighty, mighty impressive. And as a result, Parrish put Purdue back at number 1 in his rankings.
That is not true. I'm not going to do that. You write about it in a nuanced way. And, people they read what they want to read. Here's the truth. Here's my honest to God sentiment on this whole Purdue Arizona thing. You could have either one of them number 1, and it's easy to defend. With Purdue, it's like they're already number 1 in the AP poll. They just beat a top 15 team by 30. They are undefeated, and I actually do believe that they will remain number 1 in the AP poll because I don't think AP voters are going to drop a team that just beat Texas Tech by 30. But remember, when I moved Arizona, that had not happened yet. I could have flipped back to Purdue, and I guess that would have been fun in the spirit of page views. But, trying to stay logically consistent, if I'm going to move Arizona to number 1 on a Thursday morning, because at that moment, quite clearly with 3 top 15 wins, they've got the best body of work. Well, even after what Purdue did to Texas Tech on Friday night, Arizona still has 3 wins over top 15 teams. Purdue doesn't. Arizona still in this moment right now has the best body of work. So I just have left it as it is. But I don't think there's a wrong answer. Arizona, Purdue, you could put it in any order and nobody can sensibly call you nonsensical.
Would agree. Purdue, if you're going to be the kind of team that has national championship expectations, Final Four, all that, and that's what Purdue is, for Purdue fans, they were probably just anxious, eager, hopeful to get a kind of win in the first couple weeks of the season where you just lay down the hammer, and that's exactly what this was. I thought it was reaffirming to their potential, their ceiling, and a really, really good win. There's not a ton left to say about the game because it was just an absolute runaway. And the way they played was extremely inspiring. From the starting 5 to Jacobson, Meyer off the bench. Those were your biggest players. Sha'Carri Harris also dropped in a dozen by getting some even more burn. Good job out of them. Let's keep it in the Bahamas, Baha Mar. You got more? You got more?
Just a couple things on this that I thought were interesting. That was the best performance of the season by any team, I think. Certainly any team in a high-profile game against a top 15 opponent. They were awesome from start to finish. I mean, it was foot on the gas, boot on the throat, never take it off type stuff. There was one point, like it's 60-something to not even close to that. And I just sort of noticed, because I've got the box score in real time right in front of me, it was like the most balanced. All 5 starters had exactly 10 points, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. And then Clough got going and finished, I think, with a team high 15. He got 15 and 15. So I love the balance, the depth, obviously the talent with 2 All-Americans. I love Matt's approach. Obviously, he is a little bit like Tom Izzo in the sense that he would rather recruit high school players, develop them, and watch them grow, and then use them to win big things. I mean, that's what he did with Zach Edey. While Zach Edey was becoming a 2-time National Player of the Year, Trey Kaufman-Renn literally redshirted 1 year, and then was a role player behind Edey for 2 years. Just waiting his turn, and then boom, the breakthrough comes last season, and now he's a monster. But Matt isn't so rigid in his thinking that he recognized, okay, I've got Braden Smith back, Fletcher Lawyer back, CJ Cox back, Daniel Jacobson back, Trey Kaufman-Renn back. Man, we're good. What do we need exactly to be even better? We need size up front. We got to add rebounding, and that is Clough, and he's been perfect in that role. So I love that they were very deliberate in what they were in trying to supplement the homegrown roster, and it looks like they knocked it out of the park. They knew exactly what they were looking for, and they went out and got it. And then I don't know if you heard this, but in Matt's postgame, he talked about JT Toppin, and it was just interesting. You don't hear coaches talk like this too often. And I think Matt might just be getting to a place where he's just so comfortable in his own skin that he can talk in ways that maybe other coaches don't. But he was like, Toppin came out, took 2 awful shots, and really helped us get going. And he was like, to be clear, like JT Toppin's great, but he should not be taking those shots he was taking early, and it got him. He was never able to get in rhythm. His team never got going. And Matt it seemed to critique the other team's best player in a way that was totally respectful. I'm not trying to make anything of it other than you don't hear this too often. It was just like, I know we got All-Americans, they got an All-American, but I thought a key to the game was their All-American coming out, taking a couple of bad shots early, and it allowed us to get going. And I just thought it was interesting to hear him say that to be clear, again, the most respectful way.
Okay, totally good. In the interest of moving the show along, that was good additional insight. Sorry for trying to nudge you early. Let's get to the other game, though, that happened on Friday night at the Baha Mar.
Oh, man.
Wake Forest beats Memphis 69-68. We might as well just get to the ending first here. I believe Josh has it. So let's just see what played out there in Paradise late on Friday night.
Last chance for Wake. A baseball pass. Spillers catches. Colvin for the win. He got it! Miles Colvin wins the game!
Just the dumbest way to lose a basketball game if you're Memphis. Let me provide some context for you so you can understand exactly how they screwed this up.
Okay.
First off, about 15 seconds before that happened, Memphis is up 2 with the ball. There's about a 12-second shot clock, a difference between the shot clock and the game clock. And Zach Davis takes a 3. Misses it, but it's a long rebound, and it's one of those threes where he sees it's missing before everybody else does, and he just sort of ran it down, got his own rebound. What you're supposed to do in that moment is and let him come foul you because the shot clock's off, and now you're going to the free throw line, shooting 2 free throws with a chance to put the game away. Instead, he just put it right back up. Couldn't have missed it worse. Next thing you know, Memphis is fouling a Wake Forest player, and you're shooting 2 free throws at the other end to tie the score. So all you got to do is literally just don't shoot it again. Hey, you got the ball in your hands. Just hold it. Hey, dude, just hold the ball. They'll come tackle you. And you're going to go shoot free throws. He put it up. Free throws at the other end. Now you're tied. Doug McDaniel comes down, gets into the paint, gets fouled. 1.5 seconds left. He makes the first, puts Memphis up a point. And at that point, hand to heart, we're sitting in studio. And it's like me, Wally Zerbiak, Chris Walker, Kiana Martin. And me and Wally are like, you got to miss this. Just miss this. Mm-hmm. And the announcers on the game were like, does Memphis need to miss this? The answer is yes, obviously. But nobody told Doug McDaniel to miss it. It didn't occur to him to miss it. So he makes the free throw. If he misses it, here's exactly how the game ends. Wake Forest grabs the rebound, maybe takes one dribble, and it lands at the free throw line, and the game is over. The Tigers are 1-1 in the Bahamas. Because he made it, it allows Wake Forest to set up an inbounds play that it practiced on Wednesday, tried in a game on Thursday, and then executed perfectly on Friday. The decision not to miss the free throw quite literally cost Memphis a victory. Penny Hardaway, to his credit, held his hand up afterward and said, I made a mistake. That's on me. But if me and Wally Zerbiak are going, now Memphis needs to miss this in real time, and the announcers on the game are saying Memphis should probably miss this in real time, and I'm not ranting and raving. I just don't understand how somebody on your staff can't be like, hey, we should miss this. Hey, I don't understand how that slips through. That was a really bad moment. I don't want to call it coaching malpractice and use any of those buzzy terms, but it was a coaching mistake that cost a win. There's no way around it.
Yeah, and now Memphis is in the position where we talked about on a recent show. It's not looking good. They need to somehow find a way to reverse course, or it's going to be a completely lost season before it even really gets going and begins. On the Wake Forest side, since GP took the Memphis angle, man, oh man, did Steve Forbes deserve that one. I mean, just to get it the way he did. The team Twitter account actually shared the video of them running through it the day before, which was actually, I don't know, whoever thought of it, great stuff. That's I love seeing that kind of stuff. And then they, smash cut to when they actually ran the play for real on Friday night, and really cool. So they get the win. They almost beat Texas Tech. They almost beat Michigan. Those are two losses to ranked teams by a combined 2 points for Wake Forest. They needed this one just to, gather themselves. They got it in dramatic fashion. They did it on the play Pacer, which is obviously the Bryce Drew play that won it for Valpo in the 98 tournament. Big time stuff. Miles Colvin, formerly of Purdue, of course, which got the win down there, and he didn't have to face his former team. And actually, I'm sure you picked up on this as well. When Colvin hit the shot, that was the first game. And so all the Purdue fans are in the building, and they were really happy for him. It was a very, very an under the radar, super cool moment, because Colvin, as I understand it, he would have been a really good piece on this Purdue team, but I suppose understandably, I don't fault him for it. Son of Roosevelt Colvin, by the way, former Chicago Bear, real ones know. 8-3, it's no big deal. It's all good. Okay. Colvin wanted to go to a place.
I'm sure it'll end well, like it always does.
It's going to end better than it has. They had 5 wins last year. They're already at 8. Okay, so yes, it is going to end better. It can't end worse than it has.
Hey, I take that back. Just because the Grizzlies stink and the Tigers stink and the Mets collapse, that don't mean I got to try to bring you down. No, all right? I apologize.
I for the first time ever earlier today, I watched an NFL Sunday at a Vegas sportsbook. Was a cool deal. Bears fans all around. We were having a great time. Love to see it. Colvin just wanted to go to a place where he's going to get more run. Okay. Sure. And he probably got a bigger paycheck to go play at Wake Forest than he would have at Purdue. And it could have been a kind of situation where, there can sometimes be some bitterness. I'm sure Matt would have rather had Colvin versus not, but he doesn't. And the fact that they wound up in the same event, and then he hits the shot to win the game right before Purdue's about to play, and all the Purdue fans that know him, love him well, were there. I thought that was a really, really cool moment and a very much needed win for a Wake Forest team. I don't know how good or not they are, but I know they needed that win.
Wake could be, as you illustrated, they could be 6-0 and ranked reasonably in the top 10 right now.
Yeah,
top 5 right now.
Well, it would refresh this weekend. I don't know if they'd be top 5 because they started unranked, but they'd be in the top 10 if they had been able to beat Michigan and beat Texas Tech, but they didn't do that.
There's a very realistic scenario where they've got a Michigan win, a Texas Tech win, and a 0 in the loss column. You just have to flip a couple of possessions. Now, obviously, you can flip one possession and they lost the Memphis game. So, give and take and all that stuff. But the margins are very, very thin. But yes, Wake needed that one. It was a nice victory for them. The next one I want to get to, Nebraska 86, Kansas State 85. And the reason I want to get to that next is because it ended the exact way Memphis Wake ended. Did you see this?
I did.
Okay.
Well, yeah, kind of. There was the ref did something
there was a weird clock
thing.
Dude,
I don't even we can keep it moving, but the officials that clock thing. If what happened in this game with the clock at the end happened, not even in the tournament, I'm talking like a January Saturday when a lot more people are paying attention to it, it would have been a way, way bigger deal. Super weird. I can't imagine that the official that unjustifiably put more time on the clock to allow Kansas State to win the game didn't get some sort of talking to, I would think. But anyway,
it was weird, but it was ultimately inconsequential. So let's just focus on what happened. Tie game. Sam Hoiberg gets fouled. He goes to the line, makes the first, just like Doug McDaniel. And you're not going to believe this. You know what he did next? Intentionally missed the second. And you know what happened next? The game was over. They won, and everybody celebrated. Everybody was happy. And now Nebraska is 6-0. Longest winning streak in the country, active winning streak in the country, dating back to last season.
You're going to rank them.
They're already number 26, baby.
Boom. They deserve to be. I saw CJ Moore earlier today, and he was like, Nebraska might actually be good. And I was like, I think you're right. They might be. We'll see. But that was a good win, and Cornhuskers fans, we're here for you. GP's got them ranked. They really might. They might have something here.
Well, at some point, I'm like picking between, honestly, like Indiana, Nebraska, NC State. They're all sort of in the same range, like good computer numbers. But then there's other teams that got good computer numbers, but they don't have any wins. They've just been beating bad teams by 40. And I don't really care that much about that. So I was just looking for somebody when I wanted to get Wisconsin out. We'll get to them next. Looking for somebody that has, solid computer numbers. The record has to be but also at least has a win, a notable win over somebody, and getting a win over a Kansas State team that had just blasted Mississippi State pretty good. I thought that was a nice win. I do have Nebraska at number 26 in the top 25-1. Another blowout between ranked teams. Friday was not competitive. BYU 98, Wisconsin 70. Richie Saunders got 26 points. He's already got 2 26-point games this season. AJ DeBonsa, 18 points, but only on 8 shots, which give me your thoughts on what you saw from BYU. And then I'll tell you why I really like the idea of DeBonsa getting 18 points on 8 shots.
I won't say it because I saw your studio hit and I agree with you. So I'll sit out for that take that you're going to give in just a second here. I think this is 50-50 what this result was about on BYU and Wisconsin side. Oftentimes I feel it's, versus one team versus the other, but here kind of both. I mean, Bucky had not played a high major team yet this season. It goes and plays, at the home of the Jazz, which you could not have missed if you watched the game because they had an NBA Cup game later that night. So you had a super weird visual of a college basketball game happening on an NBA Cup floor, almost vomit inducing, whatever. We can keep it moving. So the Badgers, we wait and see, okay, how real versus not are they? They might have just had a bad night. BYU did not. They cruised. They went by 28. They almost hit 100. And you can talk on DeBonsa. I'll talk real quick. First, getting Keita back was good. Wasn't a player of massive consequence, but he's back on the floor. That's good. That's good to see. We still haven't had, we still await for if and when we will we'll have Kennard Davis back. He didn't play in this game. Saunders I'm not surprised whatsoever by what Saunders is doing. He was basically just about this good, or if not this good, he's gotten a little bit better. His role last year was essentially this, and one of BYU's strengths really, really may be this season that you might have a handful of games where Rob Wright is the dude, but Saunders and DeBonsa can probably trade off on beating the leading scorer and say, okay, is it your night to get 27 or is it mine? And that's working from an advantageous position. The defense is also definitely better from a season ago. You'll remember that's one reason why I wasn't as high on BYU going into the season as GP was. It's not an elite defensive team, but it's definitely solid so far. And now 2-1 against high majors, the Nova win on a neutral, the Wisconsin win, essentially a home court win. And then they only lost by 2 flying across the country last weekend against UConn. Good gains for the Cougars, who will play in an MTE down in the ESPN Events Classic later on this week. What are your thoughts on DeBonsa? Well,
if you watched the game or even just saw the highlights, I did that highlight it felt like 8 times on Friday. We were in studio from midnight, from noon till 1. All right. It was a long day. I mean, a great day. We're just talking about basketball. It's fine. But a long day. And I think I did that highlight 7 or 8 times. So I can still see it. I'll be able to see that highlight for the rest of my life. And on back-to-back plays, it was just run him off a screen, get him to the elbow, and he's got somebody on his back. It's a smaller man on his back. Bounce it, turn and shoot over him because you're big and skilled and the other person's not as big or as skilled. My point is he can get that whenever he wants. You could run that play you could run that action every possession. He could get that shot whenever he wants. what he is already showing very early in a season where if he wanted to go get 30 every game, he could. I believe that. If you could take him and say, hey, the goal tonight is for you to get 30, go. He could do that. I love that he's comfortable letting Richie Saunders go out and take twice as many shots as him, that he's comfortable only getting 8 in a game. Like when's the time before he got to BYU where AJ ever took 8 shots in a game? I just like that he's not shot hunting, even though he could be the best shot hunter in the country. And if I'm BYU, that makes me feel good. My 5-star freshman, who everybody says could maybe, I emphasize the word maybe, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but could maybe like lead the NBA in scoring someday. He's very comfortable not even leading BYU in some games. And that's a wonderful sign, because it's not a lack of aggression or any of that stuff. It's just that, hey, man, we're a basketball team, and I don't have to be the guy that goes and gets every shot.
Yeah, I think this is, frankly, going to pay off a couple of times later this season when, as a function of this, and for teams that are going to prep against BYU, knowing that DeBonsa, who will always be a threat on any given possession, because Saunders is going to be a limiting threat, and Rob Wright can really get into the cracks and crevices. It's gonna get BYU a couple of wins against some tough opponents. It was a very inspiring win for the Cougars, the way they got it there on Friday. One more from Friday that we need to get to that was also in the Final Four and won, and that is Louisville beating Cincinnati 74-64. Quality watch, competitive game for the majority of the contest until final few minutes. Louisville winds up pulling away, and the way that Cincinnati really did give them a real fight in a way that. The Bearcats, kind of like Wake Forest, like they got to pick off some of these wins here. Wes Miller has not been able to get to the NCAA tournament yet. This is a hot seat season, but Louisville's just a really good team. It's a better team. It's a really hot offensive team overall. The Cincinnati was the second high major that Louisville had played. They had the win, of course, at home over Kentucky. This one was in Cincinnati's backyard. It was not at Cincinnati's home crib. It was at Heritage Bank Center, the big arena there in Cincinnati. But Ryan Conwell erupted. 25 points, 5 of 10 from behind the arc. Mikhail Brown also had a relatively solid game. He got a lot of his points at the line, frankly, and he was really pouring it in there. In addition to 6 assists, 3 steals, 4 turnovers. But Conwell was the guy in this one. And, just a quality win. It kind of got lost maybe a little bit in the mix there on Friday with a lot going on. But I was watching. I was impressed. Louisville got a real fight early from a team that may prove to be good enough to make the NCAA tournament. Parrish. But ultimately it said, nope, we're the better team. We've got the better offense. We're going to find a way to get this done in hostile territory, and they got it done.
I'm anywhere between 47 and 54% Boilermaker, depending on the day. That I've been a Sun Devil.
Yes.
What I'm about to say is something I never imagined saying. It's not something I could have imagined saying when I was a child, as a man who was raised on the Metro.
Mm-hmm.
Louisville's got a chance to be my favorite basketball team.
Okay, look at you.
I've never said that before in my entire life.
Well, you're wearing your Pat Kelsey glasses when you say it, so there you go.
If my mom hears that, my mom still hates Denny Grum. Rest in peace.
Okay.
All right. I love this Louisville basketball team. I love everything about it. I love the way it was built. I love going out and, hey, let's go get the 5-star lead guard with size, and then let's just surround him with shooters. And so they bring in Ryan Conwell, bring in Isaac McNeely. Conwell right now is shooting 45.2% from 3 on 8.4 attempts per game. McNeely right now is 37.8% from 3 on 7.4 attempts per game. More than half of Louisville's shots every game come from beyond the arc. It's like 52.2% according to KenPom. In 5 games, they have taken 168 threes and 154 twos. They're taking 33.6 threes per game, making 35% of them. And that's enough to give them the third-ranked offense and adjusted offensive efficiency over at barttorvik.com. So just to update it, if you're keeping track, Pat Kelsey, according to Pat Kelsey, I'm not the type to be out here talking about another man's wife, but this is what Pat Kelsey said. Pat Kelsey, he has a hot wife, he has healthy kids, and shooters. What is better than that? Hot wife, healthy kids, and shooters.
Let's figure it out.
Hot wife, healthy kids, and shooters.
Yeah. That's how you win in life right there.
That is how you win in life. as a coach or otherwise, hot wife, healthy kids, and shooters. You got those three things, you got a chance.
Good stuff. The poll right now on YouTube, if you're watching, who will be number one on Monday? Arizona. Not who should, who will. 75% say Purdue. I agree with that, and I know Parrish does as well.
Yeah, I think. I explained it. I think Purdue will be number one, and I have no issue with it.
Two more results before we take one more break and look ahead. One being Clemson winning against Georgia, 97-94 in OT. I was able to keep eyes on that at the sports book because every game conceivable and every horse race imaginable was happening. It was an amazing scene right there over at the Mandalay Bay. So I was able to watch and keep tabs on this one. Clemson is 6-1. The only loss came last weekend against Georgetown. But as we were talking to start the show about MTE events now that have to change, this was the Charleston Classic. Clemson needed to win 2 times, not 3, to win this bracket, but they get it done, beat West Virginia on Friday, got the win over Georgia here, and Brad Brownell, he's got some big ones coming before too long. Alabama, BYU, they await in the coming weeks there, but a nice start. And then the other one that we must get to, and not only must we get to it, we're a couple weeks here into Josh helping us do the show. Josh is a Butler alumnus. He is 100% Bulldog, whereas you can be anywhere from 17% to 55% Boilermaker on a given day. Josh is 100% Bulldog, and his Bulldogs are 5-1. They were able to win down at the Greenbrier Classic. They beat South Carolina on Friday. And then they beat Virginia on Sunday. Right. Admittedly, here, I was bouncing around and went to a few shoot-arounds. I did not see a wink of this game, but they won 80-73, beating a Virginia team that I think most thought was going to come out of this event with the win. Virginia actually had a tough battle on Friday against Northwestern, got out of there with the win, couldn't do it against Butler. Josh, flip on the mic. He podcasts about Butler in his spare time, oh, by the way. So this is his Eye on College Basketball podcast debut. Yeah, thoughts on what's going on with your Bulldogs? You ready to ride them into the tournament or what?
Maybe pump those brakes just a little bit. We've done this one before, where they look nice in November, and then the Big East regular season comes around, and winning games at a high clip there is a different beast. But they're fun. Before the season, we talked about they're going to be fun. We'll see if that means good. And at this point, we'll see how good, but at 5-1 and almost beat SMU on the road to be 6-0, I think good is up in the air right now.
Okay, fair. They've also got one of the best names in the sport, by the way, Parrish. Finley Bizjack, legitimately a baller, 25 points, only 2 of 10 from 3-point range, but he went for 25, and I know Michael Ajayi also had himself the day there. So that's what Josh sounds like.
Yeah.
If you'd like to, go ahead, GP. But I wanted to get him into the mix before long. He loves his Bulldogs. They had a good win. We give him a little debut here on the show.
I don't think we've ever said this. Like, Josh, obviously a Butler alum. Also, do people know this? He's a Memphis guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we go.
A little homie from Memphis.
Josh is one of my little homies from Memphis. Like, Josh, make sure I've got this right. On a visit while you were in high school, not to try to pat myself on the back, I swear that's not what this is about. But did I set it up where you guys got a tour of Hinkle Fieldhouse? Do you want to give me credit for that?
I will give you credit for that. Yep. Chris Holtman, back in the day when he was the head coach, we got a tour of the place when I was a senior in high school.
It is
Holtman. He doesn't get enough credit. And
yeah, I remember when that was one of those things. No, this is actually a credit to Chris Holtman. I just knew that Josh and his father were going up to Indianapolis to visit. And I was like, hey, like, I know the basketball coach there. Maybe I can, I'll just let him know you guys are coming. And I text Chris. I was like, hey, I got some friends coming up. And, they would just whatever. I don't even know what I said. I guess I could look it up. It's probably still in my phone. And next thing, Chris is just like, hey, give me the phone number and I'll take care of it. Next thing you know, he's reaching out to them, inviting them to shoot around, giving them a personal tour of getting a personal tour of Hinkle by the Butler coach. That's a cool thing, and it speaks to who Chris is as a person, just like just the best of the best. And so like Josh, I don't know that I've known Josh dating all the way back to then, but we've been aware of each other for a long time. You got two homies from Memphis right here on the pod now.
There you go.
There it is.
It's
And
probably
by the way, as we
like 10 years ago-ish that I sat in on a Gary Parrish show in Memphis, Tennessee on radio. It's been a long time.
holy crap, I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
You came in studio one time.
Yep.
I have no recollection of that. But keep in mind, I've had a lot of
He doesn't know. He doesn't remember anything.
I've had a lot of young
Except
people.
the nights
sitting
at
in studio.
Hakkasan. He remembers those. I promise you that.
I remember very little of that.
That's actually, to be honest, he doesn't remember anything.
I remember.
about that.
Here's the short version of the Hakkasan night. I remember seeing Kim Kardashian inside Hakkasan.
We did do that. Yeah.
Next thing I actually remember. If you were like, all right, GP, give me your memories. I remember seeing Kim Kardashian at Hakkasan. Okay.
Can I guess what you're going to say? Can I guess real quick?
Mm.
I think the next thing you're going to say is, the next thing I remember is I had a transfer in Atlanta.
That's it. I landed in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I landed in Atlanta is the next thing I remember.
Oh my gosh.
That was because I went straight from the club to the airport. I went to the club, went back to the hotel, got my bag, and went straight to the airport.
I want to say that you also maybe brought clubs, and that was the year we played golf in Vegas, and somehow you got your clubs with you to the plane. Wild.
Amazing. I did all of these
Miraculous.
things. Like, by the way, this is nothing to brag about. It's actually kind of pathetic. All right. but it's a true thing that happened. I apparently left the club, got into an Uber, went back to my hotel, showered, packed all my stuff, got into another Uber, went through security, got on the plane, and went straight to sleep. Woke up in Atlanta, but I know I did those things because I had to have done them. I had to have done them, but I don't remember any aspect of that. True story. I get to Memphis International. My golf clubs are not there. All right. They're just not here. So I walk up the baggage claim and I said, hey, I need to check and see how many bags I checked. And the guy goes, how many bags did you check? And I said, well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. And he said, well, you tell me. I said, no, I think you got this backwards. I need you to tell me how many bags I checked. And he's like, how many bags were you supposed to? I said, I'm hoping you're going to tell me I checked 2, but I only see 1. Well, did you check it or not? The guy's like, well, did you check it or not? I said, buddy, I don't know if I checked my bag or not. My golf clubs could still be sitting in a hotel room in Las Vegas because I just didn't get them. I don't know. He calls it up on the computer. He's like, you checked them. They just got left behind. They're on the next flight. I said, yes. Very proud of myself. Like, it was amazing. I pulled all of that off. A little embarrassing, sure, but also amazing. Also amazing.
I've got the old skyline behind me right now.
Look at that. Oh man, buddy.
Yeah, there we go. Good little view. Just want to get a little nostalgia. Actually, in fact, hold on. And we got to take a break and preview. But if we really wanted my view, that right there, that's where Hakkasan is. Hakkasan's in that building right there, buddy.
Man, I left all my pride in that place.
Still got the David Copperfield thing going on, by the way. All these years, I gotta admit, that's kind of shocking to me. But
I thought he got.
Me too, but we can keep it moving.
I thought some people said some stuff about him.
Me too, but his face is still on the casino. So I don't know what.
Well, you know what? I think we're living in a country now where it does not matter what you've done. I don't know how much you follow the news, but I think we've reached a point in our country where it does not matter what you've done. You can still do anything you want.
First of all, Josh, you got to push. We have a private chat. So sometimes there's a show that's happening beside the show. Josh, when you have lines like this, you got to drop them in the chat, not the private chat. He's laughing the fact that I was showing you the Vegas skyline and you were waving at it. You were like,
it was like an old friend. It was like my friend. I was like, hey, it's good to see you.
It does feel good. I haven't been here since 19, maybe. It feels good to be back. I'm excited for the games this week. And on that note, let's get a word from our partners. We got to preview these games, and I gotta eat. I haven't eaten like 15 hours. I'm starving.
I was thinking about eating too.
Josh, cut me off. Let's go. Preview.
Only CBS Sports can bring you big time during the heart of Saturday afternoons. It's big time.
It's big time. It's big time. It's big time.
On CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
All right, let's look ahead for the next couple of days, and let's try to get through it a little. Let's try not to make this a 23-minute read, if you know what I'm saying.
Without a doubt, and make it a cool
on Monday
4 minutes.
Out in Las Vegas. Some interesting games. Here's a few I picked out: St. John's, Iowa State at 4:30 Eastern, Houston, Syracuse at 6 Eastern, Oregon, Auburn at 8 Eastern. I love this. I just like having a late night game to watch. Gonzaga, Alabama, 9:30 Eastern. Do you know what you're going to be doing on Monday yet?
I do. In fact, you didn't ask for it, but I guess you didn't ask explicitly for it. I'm going to give you my schedule. The games I will be at least this is the plan. We'll see if results prompt stuff to go otherwise. On Monday, I will start with Baylor Creighton, then St. John's Iowa State. Then I will switch over to the other arena. I will be at Houston Syracuse to make sure that I'm there in time for Alabama Gonzaga, which is the best matchup of the day in Vegas. And then we'll see if I stick around for the Maryland UNLV nightcap. I actually may stick around for a little bit of that. It's going to be like a 9 o'clock local tip. So I'll be there for that on Monday, purely players era. So there's more happening, but that is my particular schedule for tomorrow.
That sounds very much like the last Peach Jam game of the day.
We all know what that's like.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, I think I've seen enough for the day. You ready to get out of here? That Maryland UNLV sounds a lot like a last Peach Jam game of the day.
I know. Well, that's going to be a play it by ear situation. So I've got HQ hits and stuff to do as well, and we'll see if Alabama Gonzaga is an epic. Then we'll see what goes on. But to bring it full circle, most of the stuff that will bring intrigue is going to happen in Vegas on Monday. I'd venture, GP, to you, what's the best Maui matchup? USC Boise State, which it's not awful, but there's not like a headline kind of game here. And this also happens to dovetail with Chaminade, which frankly, I'm fine with Chaminade playing in it because Chaminade helped this thing possible to begin with. But every other year they get to play in this thing. This year they do. It happens to be a down year for the field, and so that's not helping matters for Maui's watchability index.
I don't even know the Maui first round matchups off the top of my head. I could look at them.
I got them for you. I got them. USC Boise State, Arizona State, Texas, and Seton Hall NC State are the D1s versus D1s, and then Washington State gets Chaminade first.
I guess Arizona State, Texas, but like it's just that's all respect to those programs. I'm not trying to do what it sounds like. Maui should have a better field than that, and I don't like that it doesn't. But we could get on Tuesday a possible NC State USC semifinal, and that would be pretty good.
That would be good.
That'd be pretty good.
Yes.
Elsewhere on Tuesday, St. John's Baylor,
yep.
Houston Tennessee, Michigan Auburn, Maryland Gonzaga. Those are all in Vegas. You get North Carolina St. Bonaventure in Fort Myers tip-off. The other game there is Michigan State ECU, and I believe this is one of those deals where we're not playing it to a bracket. It doesn't matter who wins these games. We're going to have North Carolina, Michigan State on Thanksgiving. Event organizers, they got burned by those like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You'd look up and it'd be like, oh my God, it's East Carolina against North Carolina. How did we end up with this? We were supposed to have Tom Izzo. So no matter who wins these games, Michigan State, North Carolina will play on Thanksgiving. Ole Miss and Iowa play at 9:30 Eastern on Tuesday night, CBS Sports Network. That's two possible NCAA tournament teams. Normal non-league game. I kind of like this. Kansas State at Indiana.
I like it too.
Tuesday night thing.
Sneaking in there. That's they made it happen. That is in, folks. That is in Bloomington, 8 Eastern on Tuesday, Fox Sports 1. Yes,
that's terrific. 8 Eastern, FS1. And like I mentioned, you could get NC State USC in a semifinal in Maui on Tuesday if both win Monday. So you're going to be occupied out in Las Vegas.
Yep.
Great place to be. But this is also just a wonderful television, 2 days of college basketball on television. You're going to have compelling matchups all over the country and on basically every channel that carries this stuff.
No doubt about it. My plan Tuesday as it stands right now, I'll be at Iowa State Creighton first, then Houston, Tennessee, probably the best game of the day or matchup of the day, then Michigan, Auburn. I will be at Oregon, San Diego State. That's your late night tip on the East Coast, about an 8:15 or so tip, I think, when we get going here in Vegas. And then UNLV is again the late tip against Alabama late on Tuesday. And then after we get through all of Monday and all of Tuesday, that's when we will know the matchups for Wednesday. So that's a general look ahead. And just as a reminder here, Wednesday, I'm going to be bouncing all over the place, so I will not be able to do a Wednesday show. But I do want to give you some sort of content some way, somehow. So I'm going to try and squeeze in like just an appetizer size 10-minute monologue recap. If there's something big on Monday or Tuesday, a little bonus stuff from me that I can give you. But I think GP is going to have to tap in KB for the Wednesday show because I'm going to have games and I'm 3 hours behind and the schedules just don't quite line up. That's all.
Right. I will be in New York Norlander will still be out in Las Vegas. And so what we'll probably do is that 9:45 a.m. Eastern start that we've tried to hit, and I don't think we've done it once yet. But we're going to give it another shot.
By the way, this is Parrish is doing 9:45, so I'm ready whenever you need me. Okay.
Okay. Except for Wednesday.
Except for Wednesday, because I'll be at games. Correct. Yes.
All right. Well, you have a good time in Las Vegas. You tell Las Vegas I said hello. When you see Las Vegas,
I will tell them you said hello. I'm currently debating because I had the big story up, went to some shoot arounds, got to figure out what I'm going to do. I don't know when I'll next be here. Hopefully not before long, but they are playing the Wizard of Oz at Sphere, and there are tickets. Now it's like $120 to do, but apparently like they've got the wind when the tornado comes through. I haven't seen the Wizard of Oz since I was 12. I really might do this tonight. Like I haven't been to the Sphere. It seems incredible. So I'm going to try and make that happen. I got a good look at it when I landed last night. I landed essentially as the F1 race was ending and they were shooting off fireworks. But because of that, like they had barricades around, like they raced down the strip. But I got caught in traffic for like 20 minutes, as you might expect on what should be a short drive. And then my Lyft driver from Memphis and talked just like you. It was freaking me out. He has lived in Vegas for like 20 years, but he's from Memphis. It was honestly, I was like, this is crazy how his cadence is just like Parrish. Like I almost wanted to start breaking down the Purdue Texas Tech game 5 minutes into the ride, but he started talking to me about the Sphere and Wizard of Oz and all this stuff. And he's picked up like 30 people in the past 2 weeks have done it. They rave about it. So
you should
I don't have plans tonight. I might dip over and offer a review at the next show. So I'm trying to figure out my plans here. Yeah.
First off, it's funny you say that about cadence. You know what we get all the time? Me and Chris Vernon are both like, people are like, you guys sound just alike. And they say it before they even, it's just people who listen to basketball podcasts. They say it before they know we're best friends and coworkers. It's just like this guy who hosts that NBA podcast, this guy who hosts this college podcast, they sound alike. And I don't know that it's intentional. I don't even really hear it myself, but apparently other people do.
Yeah.
I've been to I can't say the word, Sphere.
You can say the word Sphere. It's not groin. Sphere. You can say it.
Sphere.
There you
go. My wife and I were in Vegas, I guess it was last year. And it was just like, whatever they're doing there, let's go see it. Because I just wanted to go inside and see it. And it was like a virtual U2 concert. And even that was just cool. It's a cool experience. So what you like, just being inside, it's incredible. Yeah. What I think you could see anything in there and it'd be amazing, but the Wizard of Oz sounds like amazing. So you should go by the dispensary. Get you like 100 milligrams. Get you 100. Get you a little 100 milligrams.
There's nothing wrong with it. I will not be doing that.
You need to go to the dispensary. Get you about 100 milligrams, and go see the Wizard of Oz and have a blast, buddy. Have a good time.
Try and make it happen. All right, I think that's a show.
All right, let's get out of here. Shouts to Devin Downey. Shouts to Chester, South Carolina. Shouts to Terry Teagle. He's a legend. Huck Larnell. Thank you guys once again for watching, listening to the Eye on College Basketball podcast. If you're not subscribed, please go subscribe anywhere you subscribe to podcasts. Apple, Spotify. There's more of us than there are of them. That's especially true out in Vegas. Oh, buddy.
I've already seen it.
Buddy.
I've already seen it. Okay.
What did you see?
Yeah, keep it. We can wrap. Just, hotel drop off you.
I think probably as a first-time customer, you probably get like an extra 15% off or something like that, If you're not subscribed, go subscribe. Apple, Spotify, more of us than there are of them. That's got to be reflected in the comments. So do it. And I will talk to you on Wednesday morning. Till then, take care.